buildings have major environmental impacts over its life cycle. The building and construction industry accounts for nearly 40% of the global emissions, and they are the largest consumers of resources. Therefore, it's very important that we start addressing sustainability in the buildings and construction industry. In India, we have a huge opportunity. You must have heard this in the past that bulk of our infrastructure is yet to be put in place. That gives us a lot of opportunity to make sure that the future built environment is sustainable. Green buildings, they can sustain most of the resource requirements on their own. Their dependence on water and energy from outside supplies is minimized, and their waste to landfill is minimized as well. Some key aspects of a green building is that it enhances natural site conditions and has a minimum negative environmental impact. Second, it's resource efficient and low on operating expenses. And the third is the element of comfort. Why do we stay in a building? It's because of comfort and safety. So green buildings bring in those elements of thermal comfort, visual comfort, and also when you operate them, they are low on their operating costs. Therefore, I think it's but natural that one should aspire to build green buildings and live out of them. Well, this is a myth that green buildings cost more. If a building is at the initial design stage, if all the elements of sustainability are integrated within the design process, then it does not cost more. However, if the design and material decision steps are skipped and plugins of efficient materials are added subsequently, then obviously it adds to the cost of going green. It's a myth that green building costs more. There is a need to demystify this myth by raising awareness and changing the mindset of the people to make the right decisions, to make the right choices at the right time. We have been for long saying that sustainable is affordable. And it's a very simple concept. If one decides to go for a green building, it is imperative that all green building features are introduced at the initial design stages. This will help you to manage the expenses efficiently. Even if the initial costs even if you were to for a moment believe that a green building may cost slightly more, let's also look at the payback periods. A building stands there for about 50-60 years, which is the life of a building. And if there was an additional a differential for going green, an additional cost for going green, the paybacks would be as low as 1 to 2 years. Moreover, with the large scale up of green buildings, the costs of materials will come down because of the volumes in the market, and eventually we would find that they are as business as usual kind of in a way. They would be as cheap as any building that is constructed. So I don't think so that that there is a cost element that there is a differential in cost for going green. That's not true. Moreover, the tangibles and the intangibles are great. If you were to look at them, the benefits accruing of a green building are much more. And if you put them and look at the comforts and the operating costs that one is talking about, then I think green buildings are really not at an additional cost. It is also important that the other factor which becomes important is the satisfaction that one has that, okay, I have taken care of my planet, I have taken care of my environment by not creating a negative impact on it. So whatever I'm doing as far as development is concerned, I'm balancing it with the environment. Well, if you look at it, there are three important pillars that can contribute to it. One is, of course, the environmental protection. The other is fostering social development. And the third is the green economy while being affordable. These are the three pillars, essential pillars around which we can do it. Now, accelerating the adoption of a green building is a loop. It requires both a bottom up and a top down approach. It's very important that we instill the confidence in the end users to demand for green. Okay, it's the end consumer who has to really go about asking for green, and then eventually the developers are going to deliver on green. Easy availability and access of information on green building products, materials in the open source will benefit in transforming or transitioning towards green buildings. Awareness and knowledge dissemination on successful green building case studies, I think that will further enhance the confidence in the end users. Once the demand for green building rises in the market, a shift in the construction and in the construction industry, we will see that there is a shift in the construction industry. And they will also, it will lead to advancements in the demand for sustainable materials and contribute to the nation's green economy. This would further strengthen research and development in this sector in innovating and creating green building materials and products. There are already regulatory frameworks in place to upscale the uptake of green buildings. Various municipalities, they have come up with what you call they have come up with incentives for going green. So normally the incentives are in the form of extra FAR, floor area ratio, so that people are able to, developers are able to kind of ascribe a monetary benefit for themselves while they build green and sell it to the end user. There are various municipalities who have gone around in incentivizing it through regulations. Say for example, the various rating agencies, they are in touch, and they have said that the pre-certification processes have to be provided by the rating agencies. We have incentives to users and developers for adopting green building practices and obtaining GRIA certification. We make these conscious choices, as I said, and advance actions that accelerate the adoption of sustainable building practices. These have to be made by the end consumer, as I said earlier. And towards 2050, as we say that it's incumbent upon the end user to demand green buildings, to bring the shift in the market and expedite climate action. Built environment is aiming towards becoming net zero by 2050. And that is I think, endeavor that we in our country should follow these goals to make sure that our future ready built environment is net zero. And then, of course, aspiring to the bigger goal of 2070 carbon neutrality. At the end of it, I would just like to say that it's incumbent upon each one of us to demand for green, and only then will green be delivered.